Do you think anything is possible inside of Sin City, Las Vegas? I believe what God is doing is that He's bringing people together under the spirit of unity to display that anything and everything is possible through Him. This is Las Vegas United. Well, hello and welcome to Las Vegas United. I am your host, Pastor Presley, and I love every moment of doing this show. Now, here's the biggest deal. If you're watching on Keen 17, we welcome you. If you're watching on YouTube, we welcome you just the same. But if you're watching from YouTube, do me a huge favor. Can you go ahead and make sure you hit that subscribe button? We want to make sure you receive notification whenever we go live for any program that we do. And speaking of program, I can sit here and say that tonight's guest here with me is probably one of the most important people in my life. No, she is the most important person in my life, right? She keeps me sane, and I know tonight she's gonna bless your heart. I want to introduce you tonight to my special guest, my wife, Anabel Presley. Girl, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Like, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. No, seriously, babe. I'm super excited to have you up on here with me tonight. I believe it's one of those deals that gives everybody the opportunity to see the woman that pours into me, the woman that speaks life into me, the woman that keeps me right, the woman that keeps me alive. Right. I want everybody to meet who you are. And so with that being said, can you let everybody know who Anabel is?
Ooh. So I would say that first off, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be here, alongside you and the CTN family here. But Anabel, who's Anabel? Oh my goodness. I always like, oh, I'm just Anabel, but I am a mother of 6 beautiful kids.
Come on now.
I think we kind of mentioned it before, or you may not have, but we are like the interracial Brady Bunch.
Come on with it, the interracial Brady Bunch.
3 girls. Let me rephrase it. 3 girls, 3 boys.
Yes.
And 5 amazing, beautiful grandbabies.
Girl, you sure you a grandmama?
Yeah, I'm a grandmama. So that's like, I think I love that title now more.
Yeah.
Because seeing our grandbabies and seeing them grow is like seeing our children grow again. So it's like a double blessing to be able to see them and grow. And your partner in this life. So that is amazing. So, so that's who I am.
That's who you are. That's the simplistic aspect of who you are. That's the simplistic aspect. But here's a question for you, though.
Yes.
As we've been living life together, right? How has God really just matured you in what He's called you to be, right? Because that's the part, many times we can always live life together and everything, but it's one of those deals that sometimes we don't go back and reflect to be like, where has God like brought you from, and how has the Lord like really matured His daughter? Like, how has He matured Anabel?
I would say in one of the areas has been in faith. In faith. A lot of viewers might not know this from us, but we went through like a big health scare in about, about 2.5 years ago? It was almost 3.
Yeah.
And during that time, I think that God really started to get a hold of me in a way that I've never had before. I know that during that time, before it happened, I would say like the night prior, I had a dream where I very vividly felt God and hearing Him say, do you trust me? And I was like, yes, God, I trust you. And, it's so cliche to say, you trust God.
Right.
But the next morning, getting, being, having to go through what we went through and having that health scare and having those diagnoses, that it was like I just had such a peace about what we were going to walk through.
Yes.
And I know that seeing you and how it affected people that were very close to us when, we let them know what was going on.
Right.
That fear crept in. And during that time, I honestly felt peace with everything. But even in those moments where fear was saying, what if? God was saying, even if.
Ooh, say that one more time, babe, because that's a powerful statement. Because I would walk with you through this. We walk together, but say that one more time because that's a powerful statement.
Yeah. So fear made me think, what if I were to die tomorrow? Fear was, what if something happens? What if you don't get healed?
Right.
But God and faith spoke to me saying, even if this doesn't go my way, you will be okay.
Come on.
You are going to be okay.
Yeah.
My plans are perfect for you. Do you trust me?
Yeah.
And during that time, that is what kept me sane. That's what kept me at peace. And just trusting in him that, again, I knew that his plans were perfect for me.
Yeah. No, and it's an interesting thing, right, when we talk about the perfect plans of God and how many times, his perfect plan doesn't necessarily resonate for like how we've envisioned, how we foresee things and everything. And so here's a question for you, love, is as you were looking and you had the dream that when the Lord came to you and how in that moment did you feel about the Lord saying, this is my plan? But even though he's like, do you trust me? Right? Do you trust me? In that moment, even though the plan wasn't clear, how did you operate in a manner where you said, it's not what if, it's even if. Even though I don't know, even though I don't understand, I can still lean upon you. Like, what did that look like for you?
I think that my faith in him was the catapult that allowed me to see his plan for me.
Right.
Even if it was what it was at the moment. My faith allowed me to see that it's not that God can't, it's that he will. And trusting that plan was perfect for me. Even though, again, fear was creeping in at times where I wasn't feeling that well and saying, God, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I trust you in this process.
Yeah. And so with that, how has it been being able to pour into other women and pour into other people, saying, hey, like your faith, like it matters, like having the faith of a mustard seed, right? I'm saying it's like, and knowing that God's going to do something, kind of like the man that came to Jesus and he's like, hey, I believe, but help my unbelief, help the part of me that just doesn't believe. Like, how has this journey for you? How has it changed how you pour into people? Like has it changed the way you speak to people? Like how you pour into them? Like, it's like maybe you spoke to them one way before, but now it's like, no, I've learned something different about the love and the character and the will of God. Like, how has that been pouring into people for you?
I would say it's been twofold.
Okay.
Twofold. One has been where I have, profess faith in the way of, hey, trust God even in those times where we see that, like in the Bible, Peter was in the boat and he was told to come out and the storm came. Whatever that storm may look like. For me, it was illness. And to say, but if you only remain looking at God, nothing will waver.
Yeah.
God left us that example of keep your eyes on me.
Yeah.
Peter looked at what was going on, his surroundings, and allowed his faith to waver because of fear. But if you keep your eyes on me, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Anabel, keep trusting me. So as I pour onto others, I allow them to just have their moment and see, okay, am I looking at my circumstances? Am I looking at my storm and losing sight of what God has told me to do?
Wow.
And in the other sense, where I say it's the opposite end, in the Bible, we have the friends that took their friend that was ill.
Yes.
Because of your surroundings, because of the group that you have, they will pour into you when you are not able to see the healing power of God. So it's so great to have people around me. I know the women at Connection, they have poured into me in those times where I have not had the strength to do what I've been called to do. And it's so important to have those people that are godly to pour onto you.
Yeah.
So it's been a twofold thing. I've received it and I've given it back.
The double, like it's one of those deals you say, I receive it and I give it back.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that really just the essence of what we're called to do, right?
Yes.
It's just to when we receive something, to go ahead and give it back out. I know it's like one of those deals like we talk about all the time. Like when I get like this epiphany or like this revelation from God, right? I get stuck on it, right? And I can't help but just repeat it over
You do.
and over and over again. But what I love about you is you're like, I'm like, well, baby, I really found it intriguing. You're like, no, like, keep talking it. I'm just saying, like, keep saying it. And it was one of those deals where it's like to hear you hear. And you're like, hey, I receive and I give. I receive and I give. It just reminds me of the joy of and just how excited you are, just about being able to love on other individuals, to care for other individuals, to pour into other individuals. It's one of those deals. I think everybody now, they're really hearing the heart that pours into me. And this is the part like I really enjoy, because everybody gets to hear your heart, right? They get to hear the words come from your mouth, And my thing is, my prayer is that somebody's faith is rejuvenated, somebody's faith is ignited, somebody's faith that may have been dormant. You're like, no, like, get around some people.
Yes.
Get around some people, because you think that man that was lowered in from the roof, the Bible says, like you said, hey, Jesus saw the faith of the friends.
Yes.
It wasn't even that guy's faith. It was like, they're like, we're going to get you to Jesus no matter what it takes. And what I love about it is, this is what I see you do on a consistent basis, is I see you tear apart the roof for different people, to go ahead and be like, I'm going to get you to Jesus no matter what.
You know what? Someone had to break open that roof at a certain period in my life to say, by my prayers and by my faith, I know that you will be healed and saved.
Yes.
So it's just giving what God has already given me.
Yeah.
So just pray that I'm able to do it effectively and timely. Because I know that, during this time, I know that it was very hard for us, because we kept it to ourselves, I see you get teary-eyed.
Yeah, no, man, absolutely.
Because it's one of those things that, we say we trust,
right?
But do we really trust?
Yeah.
And again, like you mentioned, who is your people? Who is your community? Who are your friends?
Yeah.
That can uplift you in those moments.
Yeah.
And as we've gone through what we've gone through, I know that it's only has helped us to increase our faith in God.
Yeah.
And as we go through a different scare at this time.
Yes, at this time, yeah.
We're still trusting.
Yeah.
And continue to do the work that He has placed in our hearts and in our minds to do.
Yeah. No, it's one of those deals where I think you hit something on the head, and you were talking about it earlier. You said, hey, fear crept in, and I think if we were to be honest, right, I mean, is that I think we're all like the man inside the Bible, the father inside the Bible, where he's like, help me with my unbelief. I believe, but there's a portion of me that struggles.
Yes.
You know, and I think it's one of those deals where if we were to be honest, right, that many of us, we have that portion of unbelief, and that's the portion that we take to the Father.
Yes.
And we say, Father, help me with this portion.
Yes.
You know, help me with this portion, because I know that you received the dream, right?
Yes.
And the Lord came to you. Did you talk? Do you want to talk about like how He just came to you, just a bright light, and just like, man, He just came. He was like, do you trust me?
So I'm a dreamer, so I dream every night. I'm dreaming about everything.
Your stuff be detailed too, man. I like for
it
real.
It is super detailed. And then this dream, it was just out of nowhere. It was just this bright presence. And it was so bright that I had to put my head down in my dream and close my eyes, because it was just so bright that I just felt the presence all around me. And I knew it was God. Right. And by His presence. That's how powerful He is. And in that dream, all I know is that I was like asking God to forgive me, and was this my time for Him to take me?
Nope.
And
no, ma'am.
And all I could hear was, Annabelle, do you trust me? And I said, yes, God, I do. And it was like 3 times He told me, do you trust me? And I was like, yes, God, I trust you. Are you taking me now?
No, ma'am.
He was like, no. But do you
Thank
trust?
you, Father.
But do you trust me? And I was like, I do, God. And it was like I just went back to sleep. And when I woke up, I was like, oh my God, babe, I dreamt with God.
Yeah,
And I remember you
remember.
were like, wow, okay. What happened? And I was like, babe, he just told me, do I trust him? And I told him I do. And that was it. And later on that day, we went about our day, and all of a sudden I just had this really pain in my stomach and like a knot. And, I worked at urgent care at the time, and I hate going to urgent care.
I don't understand why that is the case. When it comes down to people that work inside of medical, they do not go see the medical doctor.
No, I'm like,
but refer everybody to go see the doctor.
I do. I'll be referring everybody like, what's going on? Oh, go to urgent care. We'll take care of you. But at this time, I was like, no, I don't want to go. I'm okay. Later on in the evening, I was like, yeah, actually, you need to take me in. So that. When you took me in, you're like, okay, you must be in pain to go back to work. And I was like, yes, take me now. And again, like during those moments that we were trying to figure out what was going on, diagnosis, I just felt at peace. And I knew God had given me that dream so that I would know, hey, Annabelle, what you're going to go through, what your husband is going to go through with you, what people are going to see is faith in action, is you trusting me as we're going to continue this journey and my perfect plan for you. Right. And I was like, okay, God, don't know what this looks like, but I trust you. Right. And, it's a hard thing to do because we are human. To hear bad things, hear diagnoses that are deadly, and to say, God, okay, you said to trust you, but do you know what this means? Right. But again, in those times of my heart and my mind wavering at the symptoms and things going on, and just hearing, okay, this is what's going on. It was in those still moments that God poured into me through you, through others, that it filled my faith cup to say, Annabelle, remember what I told you. Right. And I was like, okay, God, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. Right. And just continuing to just do what we have to do. And here I am, almost 3 years later.
Come on, God. Won't He do it? Won't He do it? Won't He do it?
3 years later.
Yes.
And, just so grateful just for the opportunity to be able to, again, be that living testimony to tell others that although your faith may waver remind yourself of who gave us life and who gave us purpose and a plan to be here.
Yes.
And that whatever plan he has for our life, we have to trust that it's perfect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No.
And for his glory.
Come on
So,
now. Yeah. So with the increase in faith, right? With the Lord giving you this dream and everything, how has that been in reference to us planting Connection Church LB? Like, how has that helped you? Because a lot of times I've leaned upon you, you know, for the excitement, for the joy, for the desire to go forward. Like, how has that been? Because I know for me, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's rough.
yeah.
But when I look at you, I see the purpose of it. How has that been? How has that worked for you with the increase in faith and everything? Like, how has that worked? Because it's been a lot.
Yeah, I would say anyone in ministry, God bless you. God bless you.
Let the Lord keep you. Let him
Pray
shine
for
upon your
you.
face.
Because ministry is one of those selfless works. But when you see lives changed, when you see addictions being removed from people,
Yes.
and when you just allow, him to just do what he do. He has us as our vessels, so
Right.
he's doing work through us. So to see just your continual, walk with God inspires me to be that, I would say, like, your gun-ho behind you, like, yes. Although at times, there's times where we're tired.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
times where we are sick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it out this bed. I don't know if we're going to do X, Y, Z. But God always comes through.
Yes, he
God
does.
always comes through and says, okay, I'm going to give you guys the strength for today. And, to see the work that you put in day in and day out actually encourages me to re-encourage you.
Oh, come on.
That, hey, we're in this for what it looks like. God gave us a platform. God uses in that platform
Yeah.
for your glory
Yeah.
to be able to, again, give to others what he has already given to us.
Yeah. No, man, because the things I've watched you overcome, the things from your childhood that we've talked about, you've overcome. Those things, I'm like, I literally, there's just sometimes that God has his hand on certain people. Your childhood growing up and everything and what you and your family been through. And I'm like, man, like that's a lot. But the Lord has always kept his hand on you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, God has, again, kept me for a time, for this time. He always has.
Yeah.
And I feel as though with everyone, irregardless of struggles or not, God always will be able to utilize what you are going through to be able to glorify his name.
Yeah.
So I'm just so honored and grateful to God for those moments where, yeah, it was scary and, to where I am now, that his hand has always shown up. And it just reminds me of, again, what his plan for me has always been.
Right.
So I'm just grateful to be able to share this new walk in Christ with you.
Oh, come
and
on.
what that's going to look like for us in the future.
Right.
And that it's never too late to be, for anyone, for God's fulfillment in their life.
Right.
And what God is going to use them for.
Yeah, no, so for the last couple moments, I want, if you wouldn't mind, you kind of touched about it on it earlier, we kind of talked about it. Can you just inform the people that are watching right now how important it is to be unified with other believers? Like can you just for a couple moments, can you just tell them how important it is to walk this walk with other people?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Obviously, God left us the most, again, loving examples in the Bible. He could have done his work himself. But he chose a group of men from all different walks of life to be able to then share what they learned from him.
Right.
It is very important for you to have your circle of believers who are going to be there to walk with you, to learn from you, and to also then share what they've learned from you.
Right.
Why? Because it's needed.
Right.
It's needed for us as individual, because in the Bible, every disciple had a different portion of their walk with Jesus.
Right.
And we might have our own experience with God and say, hey, I think this is great. And then someone else will take something else and then they grow from it. So it is very important as a believer to have a group to then guide you, to mentor you, to pray for you in those moments of life that we will have. And I'm so, like I said, I'm so grateful for the women that I have, because I know that I can come to them. And in those moments when I'm trying to figure out, okay, God, what is it that this looks like?
Right.
That they are there for me. So find you a group of women.
Right.
Whatever that looks like, especially as a woman, for those that are able to pray for you, encourage you, and mentor you during this walk.
No, absolutely. I think the biggest part, I love what you said too. As you were talking, I just got this visual. It's like you have a person in front of you, you have a person to your left, you have a person to your right, you have a person behind you. And you think you're accountable to every person as well. And I love that, babe. I love you so much, girl. Like, you have no idea. I'm sitting there I'm amazed. Just like sitting up over, I'm like, this woman is amazing. Amazing. And she has my last name.
That's right. I know when we got married, that was the first thing we went to do, is to change my last name.
Sure did. I put my claim on it. But no, love, I thank you so much for coming up on here and really encouraging all of us with your testimony, right? The power of your testimony, the power of your dream. And I pray that someone receives that and they remember the dream that God gave them. And they begin to function in that. And not just that, but they begin to get inside of a community that's healthy, a community that really begins to help them thrive in life and their faith.
Yes.
And so I'll thank you, love, for coming up on here and sharing that with us. And also, too, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. You guys could have been anywhere, but you are here at Las Vegas United listening to the power of faith. And so our prayer here at CTN and Las Vegas United is that your faith is increased, that you find yourself amongst a group of believers that begins to help you grow, help you be accountable, right, and help you in the times when you have unbelief. So that way, like my wife said, I'm no longer operating in fear. Fear has no way to creep in, all because of the infrastructure that you put around you of a body of believers. And here's the deal. Let your faith be something that God begins to heal somebody else on. Other than that, God bless you all. And once again, we thank you for tuning in to Las Vegas United. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Our show is hosted by Pastor Anabel Presley of Connection Church LV. To learn more about him and his ministry, please visit myconnectionlv.org. The guest this week is Pastor Anabel Presley from Connection Church LV. Thanks for watching our broadcast. Las Vegas United is produced by CTN Vegas. For more information about CTN Vegas and our show, please visit ctnvegas.com.